855. And that brings you up to date. I'm Don Elliott, KOFO News.
Stay tuned for the following special presentation from 1220 and 103.7 FM KOFO.
KOFO, your sports source for East Central Kansas and radio home of Ottawa University Braves Athletics, welcomes you to Hoop Talk, our weekly chat with OU Braves head basketball coaches Tarnisha Scott and Aaron Siebenthal. You can join us live for Hoop Talk right now at our new location this season, PrimeTime Grille at Fusion Alley in South Ottawa. While you're enjoying the show, we invite you to enjoy the tasty Kansas cuisine, including the popular Braves Burger Hoop Talk Special. Hoop Talk is brought to you by PrimeTime Grill, Dingle & Son Mortuary, Ottawa University, and State Farm Insurance Agent Keith King. Now, here's your host of Hoop Talk, KOFO's Luke Queen.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I am Luke Queen here with the Ottawa University Braves Hoop Talk from PrimeTime Grill at Fusion Alley, located at 2204 South Princeton Circle Drive in Ottawa, the new home for Hoop Talk this year. And joining me here in our opening segment is Ottawa University Braves men's coach, Aaron Siebenthal. Coach, thanks for coming out and being here with me this evening.
Yeah, absolutely, Luke. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you know, it wouldn't be much fun to talk basketball without a basketball coach around to talk with, so figured I'd invite you this week.
Hey, appreciate it.
All right. Well, to open some things up here, Coach, it kind of wanted to go back and have a little quick recap of maybe the end of last year and how everything has been going on since then, because it ended weird and it's been weird ever since, including the fact that you went 30 plus days without playing a game here this season already. So, you know, last year, great season for you, to say the least. KCAC champions, record number of wins for the team. You were the coach of the year, the KBCA coach, four-year coach of the year. What else can I say about last year? That it was an incredible season for sure.
Yeah, it was a great season, and you know, some of the things that you didn't point out was, you know, we had Daryl Bowie was the player of the year in the conference, coming off the bench in every game. You also was a second-team All-American, or the second player in OU history to be a second-team All-American. We had Jaquan Daniels on the second-team All-Conference, All-Defensive team, and the heart and soul of our team, Ryan Haskins, was a honorable mention. So a lot of good individual and team recognition for our squad last year, and deservedly so. And they've really done a good job of setting the tone for our program going forward, and we're trying to kind of keep up with what that team started last year.
Absolutely. Those guys you mentioned, Jaquan's still here, but you know, when you talk about Daryl and the recognition he got, especially being the fact that he was the sixth man coming off the bench, is pretty darn impressive. That your All-American comes off the bench, but there was something about that team that it just worked, and I kind of sat there and watched every once in a while thinking, why is it? But you don't fix what isn't broke, is kind of the way it seemed to go.
Yeah, you know, our team had great chemistry, and they really enjoyed playing with each other and for each other. And you know, Daryl coming off the bench was there was a lot of reasons behind that. But I mean, one reason is we were winning a ton of games, and why would you change things? So, you know, there was also some things that I think benefited him coming off the bench. You know, he was going against a lot of other teams, second line, if you will. Teams were in foul trouble, and he's super hard to guard. And he's a little bit more, you know, he's an aggressive type point guard. So him coming off the bench and our other point guard passing the ball and distributing it kind of gets everybody else involved early, kind of like in football. You want to kind of distribute those passes late, you know, early in the game, but then late in the game you want to throw it to your main guy, and that's kind of what we did. So it was a historic season and a lot of fun, and we're just, like I said, hoping to duplicate some of that success this year.
Absolutely. And you know, this year is off to a strange start, as we kind of alluded to there. You know, you kind of, as it ended last year, you win a basketball game and your season comes to an end. That doesn't usually happen without some hardware, and so it was definitely a strange way for it to end. But how did things go between the end of last year with recruiting and the way that off-season practices had to be done at a different way than had previously been done? What did you guys have to do in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, we won our last game and went in the locker room and celebrated after being down 12 with 8 minutes left and come back and won that first round game for the national tournament. And they told us about 2 minutes after we got done celebrating that our season was over, something out of our control. And obviously a lot of guys were devastated. And, we stayed the night, got on the bus the next day, and that happened to coincide with our spring break. And literally our guys got off the bus coming back from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And I didn't see a lot of them again until the first day of school this year. So it was, there was no team banquet, there was no team awards, there was nothing like that after a very special season, which is unfortunate for our guys and especially our big group of seniors we had. So that's been different. We didn't get to do as much in the summer as we would like. We did play a little bit of summer league, but we weren't in the gym with our guys like we normally are. And from the recruiting standpoint, 95% of it was done virtually. We do a lot of stuff on social media. We're pretty prevalent on Twitter. I think we were ahead of the curve. We had a ton of stuff put together that we could just text or email out one link to our recruits. When there was one-stop shopping, they had everything they could want to know about our program, about our school, and how we do things. And a lot of our guys we recruited via film, and many of them did not step foot on campus before they committed or signed. And a lot of times, for a lot of them, unfortunately for some of them, their first experience on campus was arriving in Kansas and going to quarantine. So it's definitely been a crazy year, and it's been hectic. But we're just glad that we're getting to play some games here and there, and hopefully everyone will remain safe, and we'll kind of keep after it.
Well, you mentioned that you're hoping to get to play a few games here and there, and after taking a month off with the quarantines and the different things that have been taking place since that victory over Baker back in October, at the very end of October, do not play a game in the month of November. I do know how a calendar reads. And then now you have scheduled right now 8 games in the next 17 days starting on Saturday, and you get to play host to a team that hit 19 3-pointers the other night in Bethel. So it's not kind of the preseason that where you can kind of amp up for it. It's right back into it, and let's get going.
Yeah, we had a couple good wins early over Barclay and Baker, and I told our guys after our game last night with friends, we're spoiled. We've been in Wilson Fieldhouse a ton, and that's a great atmosphere. I think it's the best atmosphere in small college basketball in the Midwest. I mean, it's just a great arena, especially when we can have fans in there. So we hadn't been on the road for a long time, and that was a tough game at Friends. But looking forward to now. We got to go on the road again to Bethel, and it's going to be another rough one. They're playing better than anybody, and one reason they're playing better than anybody, besides they got good players and everything, they're also playing more games than everybody. They've played, I think, 8 conference games, and no one else has played more than 4. So they're whatever they're doing with the COVID and the Corona, it's working, because everyone else has been in quarantine multiple times, and they seem to have avoided it.
Yeah, and that definitely helps to keep that continuity with your team, and just not to have to miss any days of practice, any workouts, and then actually getting game experience. You guys have definitely, had some rust coming out against Friends yesterday. I was able to, as poorly as my internet would allow me to keep up, I was keeping up as best I could, and you were finding shots, just not knocking them down with the regularity that you're used to and that your players are used to. I've seen these guys play before, and they can flat out shoot the ball, and you weren't making those shots yesterday.
Yeah, a big part of that was we were settling for okay shots, and we weren't tough enough or determined enough to, when the three-point shot wasn't falling, we weren't tough enough or disciplined enough to get a better shot, to get to the rim, to get an easier shot. And obviously we talked about that quite a bit, at halftime, after the game. And I think our guys are just so used to scoring a ton of points and a lot of shots going in that when they didn't, it it was kind of we're shell shocked. I mean, we were kind of down at halftime, and we were up 4 points on the road, you know, and I don't care who you're playing in our conference. If you got a lead on the road, man, that's a win. You know, you got to take that every time, and so it was a good learning experience for our guys, and you know, we go on the road again Saturday, like we said. We go on the road on Monday after that, you know. So unfortunately, we don't get to play them all in Wilson Fieldhouse, but you know, I felt like our guys played hard against Friends. I felt like our defense was good. We just didn't make shots because we didn't take great shots, and we just got our tails kicked on the offensive glass. And we definitely got to clean those things up, or Bethel will be definitely a tough opponent.
Okay, and you know, we've talked about the Friends game, which is the first one again that you had since October, and then what usually doesn't happen in the KCAC, but this year again, being as crazy as it is, you go on the road on Saturday, then again on Monday, and then next week you've got Friends coming in to play you.
Yeah, you know, my assistants are excited because the scouting report's already done, you know, so they don't have to worry about that. So, you know, and along with that, I mean, we gotta watch to see what other people are doing, obviously, but I mean, it's still, we're going to be in the fourth game of the year. We got to be more worried about us than we are the other teams. So we just got to be better at what we do and how we do things. And you know, we can complain or, you know, talk about 8 games in 17 days and a bunch of them are on the road. But I'll tell you what, we've been in our team. Most of our guys have been in quarantine for 5 to 6 weeks since we started practice on September 10th. I'd much rather be out playing basketball wherever it is than being stuck at home in quarantine, you know. And so I think we got to have a little perspective there, and let's just go play whoever, whenever they tell us.
And that's going to be a fun task for you over these next few days, or next 2 weeks. That I'm going to enjoy it as well as keeping track of it myself, but it'll be fun for those guys, I'm sure, that they actually get a chance to get out and play together once again.
Yep.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here. We'll come back and we'll kind of get a little bit more of a preview of the next few ball games here for the Braves, as we are joined here on Hoop Talk by men's head coach Aaron Siebenthal. Back after this, you're listening to Hoop Talk on 1220 and 103.7 FM KOFO.
It's never too late to become who you're supposed to be. However, sometimes you may need a little help. Ottawa University can get you there. Their faculty and staff are dedicated to preparing graduates for a lifetime of significance. With dozens of degree programs, including accounting, engineering, human services, and marketing, as well as graduate degrees in business administration and education, Ottawa University will prepare you for whatever or whoever you want to be. Don't wait. Get started today. Find out more by visiting online at ottawa.edu.
Let's face it, auto insurance can be confusing. Do you know your comprehensive from your collision, your no fault from liability, your premium from your deductible? After an accident is no time to find out that your definition of full coverage is actually different from what your policy says. Let local State Farm Insurance Agent Keith King explain auto insurance in terms you can understand.
I'm State Farm Insurance Agent Keith King. Let's work together to be sure your vehicle has the coverage you need. Call and schedule an appointment today at 242-9435. Stop by my office at 111 South Main in Ottawa, or visit online at keithking.net.
This is Walt Dingle of Dingle & Son Mortuary. In 1961, I joined my father Lewis in the business to become the second generation. In 82, my son Craig joined me and became the third generation of Dingle & Son. I am so pleased the son in our name will still be appropriate for years to come because Chase, Craig's son, has just joined the firm to become the fourth generation. I'm sure my father Louis would be proud that the business he started is still in the family and still going strong.
Dingle & Son Mortuary, 785-242-2323.
Delicious and deserved. It's your Sunday brunch, ready and waiting for you this Sunday at PrimeTime Grille. Bacon and eggs, chicken and waffles, all of your breakfast favorites. Drinks? How about a mimosa or Bloody Mary? Or the new drinks on the menu this weekend, including the Cranberry Mule, Peppermint Martini, and Spiked Eggnog. Sunday brunch at PrimeTime Grille, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Reservations are recommended, so call now and reserve your table, 785-242-7841, or visit online at primetimegrill.com. For game time and Sunday brunch, it's Prime Time.
I'm Dr. Andrea Russo, a cardiologist. Maybe you're waiting to talk to your doctor right now, but if you're having an irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, don't wait. This could be a serious condition like atrial fibrillation, which can make you about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you're having these symptoms, don't wait. Talk to a doctor by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
And back here at PrimeTime Grille here in Fusion Alley, the home of the Ottawa University Braves bowling team. Fusion Alley has bowling leagues and open bowling. You can stop out at Fusion Alley for good, clean fun. Here is on Hoop Talk, Luke Queen with you here, and joining me, staying here for another segment, men's head coach Aaron Siebenthal. And Sieb, so you've got Bethel coming up. We've talked a little bit about the upcoming schedule. We also opened up talking about a little bit of last year and the guys that are no longer around that had a big impact on the program. You obviously got to put bodies in those uniforms and get them out on the floor. So tell me a little bit about some of the new guys that are being worked in between, Ian Moore out on the wing, or Tristan coming in, a big guy, freshman coming in, trying to take some post minutes and working them into the games.
Yeah, we were really fortunate to return, 5 guys that played in every game and some starters and everything from last year's team, and kind of leaned on those guys really heavy. And we're actually really lucky that the 5 that come back play the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all in the right position. So we've relied a lot on those guys, but we've got some good newcomers that we're going to rely on as well, and some more guys that I think will continue to develop and give us some support down the road here. Probably the top 2 guys that are new are Ian Moore. Ian's from North Ark Community College. Good system down there that's very similar to ours. We like to complete fast pace, shoot the ball. Ian's a really good shooter from 3, and he can score off the bounce a little bit. He's a good, solid defender, and so we expect big things from him. And then hometown boy Perry Carroll, transfer from Fort Hays State, obviously from here in Ottawa, and we're thrilled to get Perry this year. Supposed to just be a 1-year guy, but now that the NAI has come back and said that all the seniors can get another year if they choose to, Perry's going to come back for a 2nd year for us, and a lot of those seniors are. So we should have another this core group will be back next year. So we're excited to have those new guys, and then we got a lot of good freshmen, a lot of good freshman bigs. Tristan Turner is the freshman big who's playing right now. He's from Port Osage over on the Missouri side, and he's just kind of a big, strong kid. Rebounds the ball really well, knows his role, but he does a lot of things that are beyond a freshman. I mean, he is constantly talking. He picks up stuff well. He's ready to go. So we're excited about that group. That's kind of our group right now. Other freshmen we're excited about: Jackson Pope, 6'9" from McLeod, Kansas. Got a ton of potential. And again, these guys aren't burning a year of eligibility this year, so it's kind of a redshirt year on steroids, which is going to be great for a young group. And then from our varsity reserve, we got a lot of other good young guys that are I think going to be ready to go in a year or 2, and the future looks bright with our young guys. But we're going to continue to kind of hang our hat on these seniors we got that have kind of got us here. So it's a good group, a good mix of mostly returners with a few key new guys.
Well, and I did, unfortunately, Bethany had to back out at almost the last minute last week to play over the weekend, and you were able to kind of have officials and run a game between your group, the inner squad, and it was good. I enjoyed getting to be able to use some credential and get in and witness that and see some of that young talent, because we didn't have a game for 30 days, and there is some young talent there, and it looks like it's going to be, they fit well, and we'll have some fun with your system, which is I think one of the best ways to watch basketball is how your guys seem to play up and down, and they're ready to go, and it's very entertaining. You mentioned earlier how Wilson Fieldhouse can be such an amazing atmosphere, and I've been a part of many of those crowds, and it really is one of the most fun places to watch a college basketball game. Well, right now we don't have any students until mid-January, and a lot of games, yes, you're going on the road for quite a few, but there will be quite a few home games in there as well. how are you going to get the guys going to kind of to play where they could feed off of that in the past that it won't be there this year?
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. I think we're 30-4 in the last 2 years in Wilson Fieldhouse right now. So obviously it's a huge advantage for us. The one thing I'll say kind of before I talk about where the fans are over this break is, our first game against Barclay, we allowed the Ottawa University community, so that's our students and our faculty, and our student showing in that game was unbelievable. I mean, that place was rocking, and it was such a great showing that we had to cap how many students can come to the next game against Baker, and that says a ton about the support we have from our students, and I think a little bit of that is how we play. I think we are fun to watch, and obviously when you win, people want to come watch you win. So it hasn't always been that electric of an atmosphere in Wilson Fieldhouse, but I think we got to where we want to be. So really appreciate our students that come out and support us, and our faculty and staff that were there for those two games. And then, we're going to have a very limited amount of fans. I think 30 is the number. 30 right now is the number that we're working with for each game. That doesn't include the participants. So the good thing about Wilson Fieldhouse during games is if there's 30 people in there and they're making some noise, it's going to be loud. It's just the acoustics are there are awful. So playing a game in there is awesome. Trying to coach in there is not great during practice because it's just so hard to hear. But I think our guys just need to kind of have some perspective on would we rather have the season canceled? Would we rather opt out? Or would we rather play in front of 30 people than not play at all? And I think our guys have been amazing with how they've handled all this. I mean, in and out of quarantine, I think we've had right at 30 practices since September 10th, and we should be at 45 to 50 by now. So, for our guys to just keep hanging in there and being resilient and getting games canceled the day before and things like that. We've talked a lot about just controlling the things you can control, and our guys have been amazing at that. And they've actually helped me keep some perspective on there. So, Wilson Fieldhouse is a special place to play, whether there's 30 people or there's 2,000 people. And obviously we enjoy it when there's a couple thousand, but we'll play our tail off for those 30 people that show up to watch us.
Well, and absolutely, and I know if games are not at Wilson Fieldhouse, I've been doing everything I can to make sure I get to watch them, even in the past few years as well. Whether it be Casey Weeder's giving me the call on KOFO, or finding the stream somewhere and being able to, watch the games. And I know it's not going to be the same for the kids, and I feel for those kids, but hopefully everybody gets the opportunity, like you said, with that extra year eligibility coming, that this will be able to be handled, and we can see at Wilson Fieldhouse back to what it has been over the last couple of years, and those guys all get to experience how much fun that really can be. And hopefully it'll continue to be cutting down nets and hanging some banners or putting years up on banners that are already there. But you've got a great thing going, and we want to continue to watch that happen because it is a whole lot of fun to be a part of.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been a challenging time for everybody. Athletics is a small part of that, but it's important to our guys. And I think, to me, when the NAI decided to give everybody the year back, that kind of took off the pressure because, let's say we're lucky enough and we get all of our conference games in, we still missed out on 6 or 7 non-conference games, and then we just missed out on the whole experience, which is playing in our gym when it's full, and going to playing in other gyms when they're full, and there's the opposing crowd is on you. I mean, that's what college basketball is about. And so I think if we all look at this year as just a bonus, then I think we're looking at it the right way.
And you guys are had I won't even say a setback on Wednesday. You're playing in the KCAC always delivers, always has good basketball, always very difficult, especially on the road. Friends is a good program down there and has quite possibly the best recruiting base, maybe in the KCAC, with the Wichita metro area right there, where you guys have to go in and try and pluck them out of there. Friends is right there, but you'll get to see them again, and I have a feeling I've seen it happen before where your teams come back and make those games happen and get those victories. But starting first, Bethel coming on Saturday, going down there to Bethel and taking on a team that set a record 19 threes the other day. Is that something you guys are focusing on, or just doing your stuff and playing your game, and you think you can come out on top?
No, I mean, they're a good shooting team, but there's a lot of other keys. One, they played Sterling when they made those 19 threes, and Sterling played zone, I think, almost the entire game. So, that's when you decide to play zone like that, you're saying, hey, we're gonna, if they hit 19 threes, we're gonna lose, and that's what happened. So, they're a team that wants to play fast, kind of like us. They really get up and down. So I'm worried about transition defense, getting back and getting the ball stopped. They will shoot threes in transition. But, they got two of the best players in our league in Jalen Scott, who is just a walking double-double. Now they're playing him at point guard, and he's still getting 12, 13 rebounds a game. And then the Bryant Mcavoy kid, he's a D1 transfer. He's a really good shooter. And then they got some good pieces around him. They're really physical. They really aggressive defensively, go for a lot of steals. And so we're going to be able to have to handle their pressure. And then we got to be able to run, and we got to be able to get good shots. And, I think the number one stat I'm going to look at halftime and after the game is rebounding. We're not a big team, and so we don't necessarily have to win the rebounding battle, but we can't get blown out in it like we did against Friends and expect to win.
All right. Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming out tonight. Good luck this weekend. And let's see, you got Saturday, Monday, and next Wednesday. So, gosh, and that's just in the next week. So, and they're all tough ball games, two of them on the road, then Friends back at home. But all best of luck to you. Again, appreciate you coming in. We're going to take another break here, send it back to the studio. We'll be back here from PrimeTime Grille at Fusion Alley after this. You're listening to Ottawa University Braves Hoop Talk on 1220 and 103.7 FM, KOFO.
You know why your tagline is not "when it's game time, it's prime time"? Well, how many screens do you have at home? At PrimeTime Grille at Fusion Alley, you've got over 40 screens to watch whatever game time it is, including the Ottawa High and Ottawa Middle School teams through the USD 290 Ottawa Sports Network. PrimeTime Grille can stream any of the games you request. Support your hometown team and enjoy the fine Kansas cuisine of PrimeTime Grille at the same time at primetime. Appetizers, drinks, entrees, salads, and more while you watch the Cyclones or the Whirlwinds in action. Now you know, when it's game time, it's prime time.
It's never too late to become who you're supposed to be. However, sometimes you may need a little help. Ottawa University can get you there. Their faculty and staff are dedicated to preparing graduates for a lifetime of significance. With dozens of degree programs, including accounting, engineering, human services, and marketing, as well as graduate degrees in business administration and education, Ottawa University will prepare you for whatever or whoever you want to be. Don't wait. Get started today. Find out more by visiting online at ottawa.edu.
Let's face it, auto insurance can be confusing. Do you know your comprehensive from your collision, your no-fault from liability, your premium from your deductible? After an accident is no time to find out that your definition of full coverage is actually different from what your policy says. Let local State Farm Insurance Agent Keith King explain auto insurance in terms you can understand.
I'm State Farm Insurance Agent Keith King. Let's work together to be sure your vehicle has the coverage you need. Call and schedule an appointment today at 242-9435. Stop by my office at 111 South Main in Ottawa, or visit online at keithking.net.
This is Craig Dingle of Dingle & Son Mortuary. When you buy a monument from us, you can count on us to set your stone so that it will remain stable through the years. We pour a substantial amount of fresh concrete with stabilizing piers for the base. A monument is a permanent recording of your family history, and you have every right to expect it to be standing straight and tall for future generations to see. We have been here for generations, and we'll be here to back our guarantee.
Dingle & Son Mortuary, 785-242-2323.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Cheryl Underwood, and as you know, I'm a huge fan of Metamucil, and I have some news to share. Metamucil now has a delicious fiber gummy made by the #1 doctor-recommended fiber supplement brand. These gummies are a convenient way to get more fiber. That's because Metamucil fiber gummies are made with an exclusive blend of prebiotic plant-based fibers that give you 5 grams of fiber in each serving. I want you to promote your digestive health by trying new Metamucil gummies today.
If you owe back taxes, there's a lot you need to know, starting with rule number 1. Don't mess with the IRS. They are cracking down this year by sending out heart-stopping letters, actively garnishing paychecks, levying bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. That's all true, but it's also true there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative, an important government program for tax debt assistance. It's one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered, so now's the time. You could qualify for tax relief that saves you thousands, even tens of thousands. Nobody knows this program like the award-winning experts at Optima Tax Relief. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and will fight to get you the best deal possible. Don't mess with the IRS. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Yeah, welcome back once again here to PrimeTime Grille at Fusion Alley. Luke Queen with you for Auburn University Braves Hoop Talk. Now I'll be joined by Coach Tarnisha Scott. Coach, I want to start out by just saying congratulations. First victory with Ottawa University. Now, granted, haven't been a whole lot of opportunities because of everything that's been going on, but got a big win the other night over Avila. It was fun to watch. I was checking it out on the stream as I was getting home from work, and that was the best I could do. But you know, to watch the ladies win, it's always good to see victories whenever we can get them. So congrats on that. But I appreciate you coming in and joining me on the show tonight too.
Absolutely, thank you so much. I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, well, hey, just to get started, first year here at Ottawa University, and we were kind of joking before we got on the air. What a year to take over. You get a job in the middle of a pandemic and try to recruit, try to get to know the players returning, and trying to just get off-season things going, try to get back to school started up, and you know, amongst all of this. So it's got to be a fun job for you at this point. But I kind of wanted to just kind of go through and just have you tell us a little bit about you to start off with, you know, where you played, where you're from, and how you kind of ended up getting to Ottawa, Kansas.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me tonight. Definitely thrilled to be here. It has. It's been a year for the books. You know, I think I'll remember this one forever. You know, not only is it my first, you know, head coaching year, but with the pandemic, it's made things very interesting. You know, but originally born and raised in Arkansas. You know, small town in Camden, Arkansas is where I was born. So I was born and raised there, and left Arkansas after high school, and I've been traveling with basketball ever since, right?
That's not a bad way to travel.
I did my college background, played at UT Dallas in the Texas area in Richardson, Texas. So I was there for 4 years, played there. And then immediately after, I just, you know, I had the coaching bug. I think it started when I was playing, you know, and I've been coaching and moving around ever since. So
very cool.
Really
I saw a few places, a few stops along the way, and you know, been a part of some very successful programs as well along the way. You know, moving where Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, yeah, and seeing all those places, and then saying, well, how did we snag you up? And great job by the administration to get you on here. But you know, you've got some coaching experience at different levels as well. How do coaching at different levels, how has that kind of helped you get ready for this, to take over a program? Your first, you know, head coaching job is you're the program, you're the head of it. How did that prepare you for this?
Absolutely. I mean, one thing I would say, experience is the best teacher. You know, I started off NAI at Talladega College in Alabama. That was my first college position. And one thing you know about NAI, you know, usually small schools, you get your hands dirty and you get busy doing a lot of different things, right?
Absolutely. You're not just coaching basketball at that level.
Oh, no. Don't be mistaken, you know. So it gave me the opportunity just to get experience doing a variety of different things, you know. I wasn't only doing scouting reports. I wasn't only recruiting. I wasn't only doing player development. I was doing everything, you know. So that experience, being able to do that, has really helped, when it's time to take over your own program and you got to lead and you got to implement different things and be knowledgeable about various areas of coaching. It's been beneficial.
Well, and I just as knowing the men's coaches as long as I have, we talked about that. I've known Coach Seep for quite a few years. I watched Phil McClintock play in college as we were in school together, and then as he's come back, and I know that it's not, when you're the head coach, you're not just coaching on practicing games. There's so much more involved in it, and even when you're a grad assistant or an assistant coach, you're doing a lot more of that stuff, that grunt work type of stuff too. So
absolutely. Even having experience, I was at Prairie View there at the NCAA Division I level, and you talk about scheduling, you talk about travel, you talk about film exchange and knowing how to navigate different film things and breaking down scouting reports and just being detailed and meticulous about things. All of that just came through experience working under a lot of great head coaches. A lot of great head coaches trusted me to do a lot and gave me a lot of responsibility, so that really helped with being able to transition into this role. And I had some experience managing budgets at my last school at Xavier in New Orleans. So all of those things that has nothing to do with coaching basketball, right? I was able to gain that valuable experience.
Absolutely. At some higher levels, they probably have somebody just specifically for that, where in a smaller athletic department, that is going right to the coach. Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Well, Grille, you've got coming up here after you had a long break as well, got a couple extra games. You actually got to play in November a few times, as the men did not. And all conference games started out a little bumpy there with conference. You're talking about some teams that, coaches have been around with their players for multiple years. They've got players coming back, and you're starting out kind of fresh with, like we said, you couldn't practice in the summer. You didn't have the workouts that are normal. So incorporating all these new recruits in with the, the people that have been around, the girls that have been here for a few years, and trying to get things going, it, can be a little bit of a bumpy start. But, looks like the girls are buying in and starting to come together as a group, and that's always a positive thing to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I started off recruiting before I came here physically, So I did all my recruiting virtually, obviously, because we were really in the thick of the pandemic at that time. So it wasn't any travel going on. And you talk about a program that has 10 new players, a new coach, which means there's a new philosophy, there's a new offensive scheme. Everything is new to everyone. And just trying to, instill that culture and that mindset, of a new program when you have a lot of stop and go practices, or, you're not able to practice at all. So it's been challenging, but I think that these girls have done a great job answering the call and just, making the adjustment.
Awesome. And that's you mentioned the word culture, and that was something I wanted to kind of go into, because you hear it a lot when you're watching different programs on ESPNs and establishing a culture, whether it be any sport that you're doing. If you're building a program and you're trying to bring in a certain culture, is there a word, a phrase, or something that you kind of have that would describe the type of culture that you're going to try and build here with Ottawa University?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing, we have our 3 C's, right, that really defines our culture, and that is commitment, consistency, and compete, right? And that's just kind of our foundation, and that's what we go off of every day. I'm really big on discipline, and hard work, and these girls have been, they've been tenacious. They've worked extremely hard. Even in some of the games where we took some of those early losses, they're fighting until that horn goes off, and that's just something that we talk about daily, about being competitive. If you're, whatever you're doing, right? We talk about being competitive. We're shooting free throws. If it's a free throw break, be competitive, don't just have your own standard, right? But we talk about living up to the standard of the program and being able to be pushed and being coachable. So a lot of those things really come into play, and that's really what I want to instill, just a hard-working, hard-nosed program.
That's great. I love it. About the perfect answer I was hoping for. Well, we're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we'll have more here with Coach Scott. You're listening to Ottawa University Braves Hoop Talk from PrimeTime Grille on 1220 and 103.7 FM, KOFO.
This is Craig Dingle of Dingle & Son Mortuary. We love all of our kids and do stuff for them all the time, even the grown-up kids. I have a suggestion of something you can do that you may not have thought of. Make your funeral arrangements. You can't imagine how stressful it is for families who have no clue as to what their folks wanted or where to find all the information needed for the death certificate. We can help you make formal arrangements, or we can give you forms to fill out at home. Give us a call at any one of our funeral homes. We're glad to help.
Dingle & Son Mortuary, 785-242-2323.
Delicious and deserved. It's your Sunday brunch, ready and waiting for you this Sunday at PrimeTime Grille. Bacon and eggs, chicken and waffles, all of your breakfast favorites. Drinks? How about a mimosa or Bloody Mary? Or the new drinks on the menu this weekend, including the Cranberry Mule, Peppermint Martini, and Spiked Eggnog. Sunday brunch at PrimeTime Grille, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Reservations are recommended, so call now and reserve your table, 785-242-7841, or visit online at primetimegrill.com. For game time and Sunday brunch, it's prime time. Let's face it, auto insurance can be confusing. Do you know you're comprehensive from your collision, your no fault from liability, your premium from your deductible? After an accident is no time to find out that your definition of full coverage is actually different from what your policy says. Let local State Farm Insurance Agent Keith King explain auto insurance in terms you can understand.
I'm State Farm Insurance Agent Keith King. Let's work together to be sure your vehicle has the coverage you need. Call and schedule an appointment today at 242-9435. Stop by my office at 111 South Main in Ottawa, or visit online at keithking.net.
It's never too late to become who you're supposed to be. However, sometimes you may need a little help. Ottawa University can get you there. Their faculty and staff are dedicated to preparing graduates for a lifetime of significance. With dozens of degree programs, including accounting, engineering, human services, and marketing, as well as graduate degrees in business administration and education, Ottawa University will prepare you for whatever or whoever you want to be. Don't wait. Get started today. Find out more by visiting online at ottawa.edu.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider and are only available if the provider determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. You pay just $30 for a month's supply. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/joy. That's right, free. Zero copay, no expensive appointments, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication. And a pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/joy. That's forhims.com/joy for your free online visit. forhims.com/joy.
Yeah, welcome back here once again at PrimeTime Grille at Fusion Alley. Luke Queen with you here this evening for Ottawa University Braves Hoop Talk. Just quick drop in here. Don't forget to follow the PrimeTime Grille and Fusion Alley on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and on the gram. PrimeTime Grille and Fusion Alley. And we are here with women's head coach Tarnisha Scott. Coach Scott got your first win the other night, and then turn around, get ready to play on Saturday. And this afternoon we find out you're not going to play on Saturday, but coach is telling me she's kind of waiting for maybe a possibility of a coach to call and see if you can get that game, or at least the date filled in with a game. But I'd hope that can happen for you. I'd love to, get the kids back out on the court and playing some more. Had a great game the other night, and I just kind of wanted to have you talk about a little bit about some of the individual players that you brought in, some of the returners that you've gotten to know. You've had about the same amount of time with them, but just kind of, some of the returners, Mariah Grizzle, Liz Vaughn, Maddie Mcavoy, have been around here for a couple years. Names that anybody listening to KOFO and Casey Weeder has heard those names be said on the radio as they're been a part of the program. But, some of the new girls as well are really starting to make an impact. Haley Anderson, 23 points, 5 of 10 from 3 yesterday. Really a big part of that 21-point victory over Avila. So you can tell me a little bit about some of the girls and kind of how things are going with them.
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, we have 10 new kids. Great. We had a strong foundation of returners. When I came into this position, and to be honest, I think that the returners, they have done an amazing job just accepting all the changes. A completely different team, a completely different system. They've just really been focused, and they've bought in. They bought into welcoming us here and just buying into the culture and everything that we've been talking about. As you mentioned, Haley Anderson, fantastic kid. I mean, coachable kid. She wants to win basketball games. She could probably care less about the 23 points, but she wants to win basketball games, and those are the type of kids that I want to have in our program. Kids who are about the program and their main goal is to win basketball games. If that looks like 23 points, if that looks like 0 points and 10 rebounds, then whatever it looks like, they want to see us be successful. And then, that returning group that you just mentioned, Mariah Grizzle. Oh, I love me some Mariah, but Mariah, oh my goodness, she's been great. I mean, she's just one of those kids that you just love to have in your program, right? She's always positive. She handles criticism very well. She's very coachable. She works hard. She's the kid that if she has a good practice, she's like, Coach, when can we get in here? So I just really appreciate that. Liz Vaughn is a leader. She is just a leader on and off the basketball floor. She kind of is our glue. She keeps us together. So she's very positive. She accepts whatever role that I give her. We had some games where I started her, and then we had some games, last 2 where she didn't start, and she's just embraced it. She's been ready to play, either way. Maddie Mcavoy that you mentioned, she's fantastic. I mean, Maddie has been resilient. Maddie was a leading scorer last year, starter, and she's accepted, a different role for us this year, and she's accepted it with open arms. We talk, we have a great relationship, and she's like, Coach, I just want to win. What does that look like, And you just appreciate that, and I think that has been the reason why we've been able to get over the hump, and I think that's the reason why we were able to get that huge victory yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun to watch, and yeah, Haley Anderson had a great game. Shot the ball, anytime somebody hits 50% and it's more than 1 out of 2, it's a pretty good game. And 5 out of 10, and she was taking, to me, what looked like good shots through your offense and the way you guys were playing, but just some other newcomers that names that I've been trying to figure out and see who these players are, and finally I got to go out last Saturday and see these ladies play. But tell me a little bit about Jalissa Simmons, Alicia Cox, Cooks, Amir Lowe, oh gosh, I'm gonna miss a couple. I'm gonna miss names here. Like you said, there's 10 of them, and I'm trying to catch up. But there's a lot of new ones to go in there. But they all played roles in that game yesterday, and were a big part of being down after quarter number 1, and then just winning every quarter after that.
Yeah, Alicia Cooks, transfer point guard from Detroit. She has made a major impact for us. I mean, she's a general on the floor. She's the coach. She's an extension of me on the floor, which is what I look for. But she has done a great job facilitating the ball and just kind of making sure that our offense is more fluid, and we have a lot more ball reversals and things like that. So she's really demanded, a change on the floor. She's been big for us. And then you talked about Amir Lowe, another transfer kid from Portland. She's just, one thing I like about Amir, and this is her second game, she's, like I said, Amir, Alicia, and Kinesia Payne, they were out for a long time, so they didn't even play in our first 3 games, But Amir has just came in and without scoring the ball, she's used to scoring. I know she wants to score, but without scoring the ball, her impact is just major for us. She defends well. She rebounds the ball very well as a guard. She passes it well. She does all those things that make us a better team, without actually scoring the basketball. Kanisha Payne, another transfer, and she actually comes to us from Alabama. And man, that's a tough kid. She's one I would just call my fighter. I'm constantly on her in practice and giving her criticism, and she's just like, it rolls off one shoulder, and she's just going through a brick wall for you. She's just a kid that just wants an opportunity. And she's done a great job buying in. She's done a great job being consistent. She makes us better in practice. Grille has to work. So she's done great. Got a lot of great post presence there. Jill Talman, she's been great. Her and Kanisha are battling in practice, and I think that's why you're able to see the result in the game, because they don't bail each other out in practice. They're battling and they're going at each other, and we're competing.
And that's obviously what you have to do. Your first time running through the gauntlet that really is the KCAC. It's a deep league, a lot of teams, and I don't know many other conferences around the country at many different levels that have to play. Is it 24 conference games every season? And that's what the KCAC does, is a home and home, and you really have to compete and earn it in the league. And I really enjoyed watching the girls the last couple times out, and look forward to seeing more of them as we move forward in the season, hopefully with this few less breaks and those type of things that we've had to deal with so far on the season. So Coach, it was an absolute pleasure for getting to know you here. I hope everybody starts tuning in and listening to catching the women's games. If you guys do get to play on Saturday, it looks like it might be a later game, as the men have moved their game up to the 3 o'clock time slot. So hopefully you get that. If not, you'll be back in action next Wednesday against Friends at Wilson Fieldhouse. So good luck with that one, Coach. And again, I appreciate your time and for you coming in tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, everybody back and out there in KOFO land, appreciate you tuning in tonight for our first installment of Ottawa University Braves Hoop Talk here this evening. Again, the Braves in action, the men on Saturday right now at Bethel. Women trying to find a game, and hopefully will. And after that, Ben again back at it on Monday at Kansas Wesleyan, and both teams in action on Wednesday against Friends. Thanks again for tuning in to Hoop Talk here on 1220 and 103.7 FM KOFO.
Locally owned and operated by Brandy Communications. Hometown proud for over 70 years. KOFO, K279CS, Ottawa.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Andy Field. There were more coronavirus deaths reported yesterday than any other day of the pandemic. That's according to Johns Hopkins University. The CDC estimated the U.S. could have 329,000 dead by Christmas. But Vice President Mike Pence says a vaccine is on the way.
We expect to be shipping COVID-19 vaccines within 24 hours of approval, and we expect vaccines to begin to be administered to Americans in that first group within 24 hours of that.
The FDA meets next week to consider emergency approval of a vaccine. California, one of the highest rates of COVID hospitalizations. ABC's Whit Johnson says the state is on the cusp of a new stay-at-home order.
A 3-week stay-at-home order triggered when ICU capacity in a region falls below 15%. Many areas right on the edge. Businesses like bars, wineries, hair salons would close. Any in-person schools could stay open, along with limited retail and takeout at restaurants.
Delaware's governor now urging residents to stay home and wear masks. President-elect Biden telling CNN that on Inauguration Day, he will ask the public to wear face masks for 100 days to slow the coronavirus spread. The Justice Department is suing